And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the playoffs of Cheeseadelphia Summer LAN. The final leg of the bracket here. The final leg of the tournament. We just wrapped up with the group stage, and now we're going to be embracing the playoff bracket instead. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. Oh, I should update the in-game text file, actually. Un momento. One moment. Playoffs, they have begun, and with that we have our top 8. We have our top 8 players ahead of us, and if you're watching the clean feed there, if you're watching kind of the behind the scenes player shots, you would have seen that Epic versus Disrespect are facing off against each other, and they happen to be sitting next to each other. Both Epic and Disrespect, they're sitting next to each other, and they have constructed a barrier of sorts, a wall between them to make sure that there's no cheating, there's no looking upon each other's monitor. It looks like it's about to topple over. It's not the most stable of constructions, but it looks good. It looks good. I appreciate it. I appreciate the effort, Papi. I appreciate the effort. As we are jumping into this, we're jumping into the quarterfinals. As Epic and Disrespect are facing off, we'll be jumping into Starkiller versus Creature in another portion of the playoff bracket. We can go over the bracket itself after this series. For now, we are embracing it. Let's jump on in to the quarterfinals. If you're in the chat, predictions will soon be open. Let's go. Player to his right, Dolan. Dolan is next to Starkiller on the right hand side. Dolan is next to Starkiller. But here we go. Predictions in the chat are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim this quarterfinals match. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner. In the bottom right, we have our red Protoss player representing the land of the Americas, representing Root Gaming as well. It is Creature. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the American Zerg player, the Teal Zerg, representing Matcherino Esports. It is Starkiller. Let's go. Let us go as we have our PVZ and Starkiller. Papi, where are we going? Where are we headed as the drone is being sent towards the bottom right hand corner of the map, setting up for a proxy hatchery. Now, this is not an all-in. Looks like Starkiller is going for an expansion. Interesting. I'm pretty sure we were set up to go for the proxy hatchery if our base was blocked, but we are building up resources nonetheless, biding our time, ready to jump in, and we should be looking to throw down the hatch block here on the low ground. As we're still just biding our time, building up those minerals up to 300, and now we go in. We go for the dive. We go for the hatchery. Bam. Huh. There we go. Hatchery has been thrown down, so it is technically a hatchery into hatchery before spawning pool, before gases, so bit of a greedy opener here at the Starkiller, but the goal here is to force a reaction, to force the boys being pulled off the mineral line, to force denied mining and delayed economy in favor of just catching up back at home and able to get into a bit of a later gas and a bit of a later spawning pool. Now, so far, we do force additional gateways. There we go. 2 gates set up here from a Creature. Zealot has been forced out. We have not pulled the boys, so it's going to take a little bit longer to actually deal with this hatchery. It's going to survive, and it's going to be... we might even let it finish. We'll see if we're able to cancel in time and go for the for the Evo chamber as well. As we do contain and delay the expansion for so long for Creature. Back at home, heavily droning. Taking our gases, saturating our bases. Second Zealot has arrived. Now, this is a bit of a give and take. On the one hand, we do delay the expansion, true. On the other hand, as we do go for the Evo chamber just in time, delaying the expansion for as long as we can. Forcing another cancel. Now, the downside is we have an army. The downside is that we will force a counterattack. We kind of created a monster here. We have 2 Zealots, soon to be 2 Adepts as well, and a Creature should be moving out across the map. There we go, as we speak. And now it's on Starkiller to minimize losses. To minimize losses against this counterattack with 2 Zealots and with 2 Adepts. There's a lot of potential for aggression. There's a lot of potential for damage. And Starkiller is amassing Lings. Queens are on the way, Lings as well. We'll see if we can hold on. We can survive this. So the army is rocking up. Lings are amassing. We have 8 more Lings on the way. Ling speed still on the horizon as well. we're getting there. Are getting there. A steel mod cast will be awesome. Steel, it's been a long time since steel mod is cast. It's been a long time. Long time. Ah, I'm sure we'll get steel mod on eventually again. I'm sure. As for now, we do pull back. We need to bring the puppet out of retirement. What has happened to the puppet? It's gathering dust somewhere, I'm sure. Need to bring it back. Ah. Ay. Este steel mold. As back at home, it's going to be a Stargate follow-up. So far, we did shut down the initial Zealots. Zealots have been cleaned up. Adepts did race back. And we've built up quite an Adept count here. We are up to 5 Adepts here for Creature. Oracle moves out. We have a Void Ray follow-up as well. Void Ray is on the way. Puppet is in a box, not gathering dust at all. Ah. It's perfectly preserved. It's being kept safe. As the Oracle catches 2 drones, that's an okay amount of damage. The Oracle will back off from here, but the Void Ray is what I'm most curious about. With a Void Ray follow-up, the goal here is to shut down any kind of vision, any kind of scouting, and from here, we can head into a couple of different directions. We can go for a second Stargate into Sky Toss, head into a Twilight Council into Glaive Adepts. Creature has options. For now, vanilla Adepts are moving out. Adepts, they do move out across the map behind this Starkiller, rushing into a lair. I say rushing into a lair, this was around a, 4-minute 40 lair timing. Even later, no Roach Warren as we speak. It could just be Ling into Hydra. We could go into a Spire as well. We have options. We'll see if we embrace Spire Tech or Hydras instead. Adepts do shade in. And they shade into natural. Very nice positioning here behind the Gas Geyser. Lings, they cannot engage. Not in this position. And we deny so much mining time. Adepts, they do shade into the main. Ah, but they get surrounded. We do force a recall. Adepts are forced back. Back at home, Twilight Council is done. Forge alongside it. Looks like +1 and charge, not blink. Okay. Yeah, my attention is going to be +1 and charge into Chargeable Archon. Meanwhile, I was waiting to see if it was going to be a Spire or a Hydra Den. The answer is Hydras. Hydra Den is on the way. So Ling Hydra from Starkiller. Now with Ling Hydra, we can work towards Lurker Tech. That is going to be a viable option here for Starkiller. We'll see if we embrace Lurkers or if we focus, at least for now, on Ling Hydra. The downside is that Ling Hydra is quite fragile. It's a very fragile army. And with a solid timing here with Chargelts and with Archons, I'm assuming Archons as we have yet to throw down the Templar Archives, we can actually catch Starkiller off guard, depending on how greedy he is. That's a Gateway Explosion. There it is, Templar Archives on the way. That should be for Archons and Storm. Should be looking to embrace that splash damage. Oracle does dip in. Someone's going to sleep because it's already past his bedtime. Ah, get some rest, Pappy. Get some rest. Good night. Good night. I'm jealous. I'm celoso, Pappy. I'm celoso. As Starkiller, he's actually cutting workers a little bit earlier here. I mean, I say cutting workers, just under 3-way saturation, 57 drones, and is amassing so much Ling Hydra. Starkiller sending everything across the map. Again, no upgrades for the Hydras. I mean, we have Hydra range, but no Hydra speed. 2 end up coming across the Oracle. Creature does scout, does confirm, and we're warping in defensively back at home. Archons are on the way. No Storm. Gonna have the one Archon for now. Ling Hydra's diving on forward. We have the overcharge, but it's barely supporting the army. It barely does support anything. Creature caught out of position, but does force back the army for the time being. It pivots away towards the shield battery. Creature does maintain himself, and Starkiller, upon seeing the army, he backs off. He backs off, and there it is. There's the Lurker Den. Lurker Den is on the way. Hive behind this as well. We're heading towards Hydra Lurker Viper. We're taking up, and Creature doesn't really have much pushing power with this army. If we had Storm, that'd be another kind of another question here, but yeah, for now we're taking a 4. Still stuck at home, getting into Mass Immortal production. Now, Mass Immortal can actually break through a line of Lurkers. It's a little bit deceptive. Lurker tech is good against ground toss, that's true, but Immortals, they can take a lot of Lurker shots to the face and break through a defensive line of Lurkers quite well. And Creature is going to be embracing that. Just going for this ground death wall of an army. Immortals and Archons. No Storm. Meanwhile, Starkiller trying to hold on. Is droning up. He's rushing to his own Lurker tech as well. And we're calming things down. Both players were just calming things down, easing our way into the mid-game. 7 more Lurkers on the way. Mass Lurker. Lurker range as well. Building up towards those upgrades. Now, what I will say though, as the tech here is looking good for Starkiller, the creep is lackluster. We have like one active tumor here towards the left. We have an active tumor towards the right, but no creep is being spread whatsoever, so we have very little vision out on the map. We do have an Overlord, don't get me wrong, but that's really all we have to scout. It is a little bit concerning. Ideally, you do want to be having map vision just so we can keep up with the rotations of the Protoss army. Otherwise, a lot of these Lurkers are not going to be in position. Speaking of, we are going for a big counterattack, and I believe Starkiller does not spot this, but he's in position. We have Lurkers at every single base. We're spread quite thin, but against something like a run-by, we should be okay. If Creature went for a committed push, then I'd be more concerned for Starkiller. These Lurkers are burrowing. More Lurkers on the way. Meanwhile, Creature is maxed out, and here we go, moving out right towards that 3rd. At the same time, Lurkers likewise move out as well, getting caught out on the map. Do we have detection? Do we have an observer? We do. Okay, we do have our observers moving in. At the same time, Zealous, they hit the northern hatchery. And we're going to shut this down. Yeah, Lurkers did move out of position. At the same time, Starkiller rotating everything towards the north. Spy just going up. Zealous are being cleaned up. They got 6 drone kills. Nothing too major. Lurkers getting caught on the low ground, and we're going to clean this up. Lurkers are completely exposed, and they're going down one after the other. Again, Lurkers, they need support. On their own, they just melt. So far, a good start here for Creature. Shuts down the Lurkers, shuts down the Hydras. Starkiller does get in position. Creature backs off. He respects the army. Does rotate over, catching 2 more Lurkers. We can see Starkiller trying to respond as well, but it's too little too late. I say that we catch so many morphing Lurkers. And Creature is trading well. And behind this, we have a fleet beacon on the way, 2nd Stargate, and we're getting ready for Sky Toss. Creature transitioning into Sky Toss. He already cleaned up so many Lurkers, I'm afraid to look, but that was 12 Lurkers going down. And how many are left? 8. 8 Lurkers remaining. Creature, he takes the gold base, working towards carrier production, making 3 carriers at a time, which means that Creature doesn't have to kill his opponent. He doesn't have to go for the kill. He just contain. He can just contain the Zerg player, rotates around, and it looks like he will claim this northern hatchery. It's going to go down. Nothing in position to defend. The hatchery does fall. Catching the Hydras. We could even keep pushing, and Starkiller being forced further and further back. He just cannot keep up with this. Not anymore. Starkiller stuck on 4 bases, stuck trying to rebuild his Lurker army. But as he's making more Lurkers than Hydras, we're making carriers. Like, Creature, he's just 1 step ahead. Yeah, Creature is in the driver's seat. As he bleeds out some gateway units, some gateway army, he's just replacing it with more carriers. Storm is now on the way as well. Finally, for some splash damage. And we'll see what Starkiller can get done. I mean, in this position, Starkiller is behind. He is a little bit behind, but we could try to go for a Nidusworm, for example. Like, Nidusworm into the main, try to outposition the carriers, hit the gold base, or hit the third or the natural. Try to bypass the army and get some economic damage done. That's going to be the hope here for Starkiller. In doing so, can drag the army out of position and catch like a stray carrier or two. Outside of these moves, though, it's going to be difficult. I don't really favor Starkiller in a head-to-head fight. But we'll see. A storm is still a couple of seconds away. Still not quite done. Well, there we go. It's done in 10 seconds. Carriers are getting caught out. Nice pick off here. One carrier will fall. We catch one. At the same time, creature not quite in position. They're forced to push into lurkers. Massive spine shot's going to be going up. And do we have any storms? No storms, but we may not need it. Yeah, it looks like we have just too much sky toss. We're getting on top of the lurkers. They're left so exposed. They're going down one after the other. Not enough anti-air. GG gets called, and creature will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Again, Starkiller had a nice start to the game. He was able to take advantage of his Ling Hydra, able to contain his opponent. Unfortunately, that first lurker push did fall on its face. We bled out too many lurkers early on, and again, we were just kind of stuck one step behind the tech of creature. As creature was working towards Skytoss, we were still stuck on Hydra lurker, and no Vipers either. No spellcasters to support. Starkiller needed more time. He needed more time there, and wasn't able to get it. GG. Creature does take a lead, but we'll see where this takes us. We'll see where this takes us here, as I want to believe we can get it back and forth. I want to believe we can have a back and forth here between these players. As we're diving into game 2 on site Delta. Here we go. Catching up. I would raise my kids off of Steelworld's puppets. Oh no. Your kids are gonna grow up incredibly annoying. It's this deal. Cranky has their own puppets. True, true. Sesame Street, better watch out for the Cranky Ducklings takeover. Oh no. Not like this. What is Yaku gonna teach? If we compare us to Sesame Street. I don't know if he can. Keep your kids away. Keep oh god. As here we go, we're getting into game 2, and spawning in the top left hand corner of side Delta, we have our American Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Root Gaming, leading the series 1-0. It is a creature. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the American Zerg player, the Teal Zerg, representing Match Arena Esports down in this series, looking to bounce back and force the ace match. It is Starkiller. Go. Interesting, as Starkiller is going to be opening up with a pull first. Yeah, no proxy hatch, not this time from Starkiller, but a pull first nonetheless. With this, we can make an abundance of links early on. We can be a little bit more aggressive. I'm curious what the plan is going to be here for Starkiller, when our gases are being taken, and whether or not we throw down an early Roach War. Starkiller is going to be the aggressor. As a reminder, this is a best of 3, so the pressure is on Starkiller right now. There's no lower bracket. It's not double elimination. It's one and done here in the playoffs. No room for error. As for now, it's going to be a pull first into hatchery. Sorry, pull gas hatch opener here out of Starkiller. Quite aggressive, actually, with that earlier gas geyser. Lings are being sent out. It's going to be a 6-ling opener from Starkiller. Our initial 6 lings. Gas is being prioritized. This can lead into fast link speed, or maybe even a fast lair, fast roach warren. We have options. But now the lings are moving out. Now, Creature does confirm this, does confirm the lings and the opener, so back at home we do have a second gateway already on the way, and the Zealot was chronoed out. So Creature is ready, Creature is prepared. At the same time, Creature keeps his probe alive across the map. We'll see if we make use of it, as it is potentially coming in for a follow-up scout. Lings have arrived, they poke in. They don't get any damage done. Link speed is on the way, and we pull out a gas. Okay, so it's just for fast link speed. We are not embracing like a Bailey Nest or a Roach Warren or a Lair. No additional gas income here from Starkiller. And the Lings, they pull back. Pull back. This could lead towards something like a Ling Flood, true. We could just double down and go for mass Ling. That is an extra pair of Lings on the way, but we're still droning. Okay, we're droning up for the most part. Droning. Getting out of the base. Meanwhile, Creature, interesting. Going for our tech of choice. That is not a Stargate, that's a Twilight Council. Creature doubling down and being hyper aggressive, and this could be Glaive Adepts. I say could be. We're still on 3-3. This could be a Dark Shrine opener instead. We have options. Could be Glaives, could be DTs, could be some kind of weird charge all in. And we have our answer. Glaives are on the way. Now, I'm a little bit perplexed just because we have 3 workers in both gas geysers. Glaive Adepts is typically done with 2 and 2, like 4 in total, not 6. So I'm curious how committed we're going to be. This does mean we can afford extra warp-ins of Adepts. Overlord goes in for the scout, does confirm the researching Twilight Council. Starkiller is aware of the aggression and does respond with an early Roach Warren. So nice timing here with the Roach Warren. Starkiller should be ready for this, should be more than prepared. We have 3 gateways on the low ground, just 3 gateways. Okay, so 3 gate glaives from Creature. I believe this is an economic variation. Now, what I mean when I say economic is that because there's no robo, because there's no 4th gateway, we have extra resources to expand. Like, the money spent on a robo and a 4th gate is, I believe, should be spent on a Nexus instead. We'll see. We shall see. As the Adepts will soon move out across the map, Starkiller meanwhile just taking his 3rd base, working towards our lair timing. Oh my god. Never mind. I spoke about expanding a little bit faster because we're not spending money on a gateway and a robo. Double Stargate. That I was not expecting. I mean, we're spending money elsewhere, but I wasn't expecting this kind of tech here. Double Stargate Mass Phoenix or Double Stargate Void Ray? I'm leaning towards Phoenixes, but we'll see. As the Adepts, they have arrived. The Starkiller is ready. We're able to keep up. Adepts, they shade into natural. They do shade in. Drones are going down, but only a handful of them are being targeted. Only 2 workers so far. Acceptable losses so far. We can't afford these losses for Starkiller, but we shade into the main base. More drones falling. We get 5 worker kills. That's slightly better here for Creature, but still not ideal. I'm afraid to look. This was how many? This was 7 Adepts for 5 drones. Not even a 1-to-1 trade. And I was concerned. I was like, is it Mass Phoenix or Mass Void Ray? ¿Por qué no los dos? Like, it's okay. Phoenix and a Void Ray. And another Phoenix. Is it just a singular Void Ray, or do we just keep making them? I just don't know. Ooh, as the Lings, they do deny the 3rd base. Nice pick up here by Starkiller. 3rd base is denied. More gateways on the way. We are not actually embracing too many Phoenixes with this. Going for a massive gateway explosion. And this looks like a 2-base all-in. Yeah, this screams 2-base all-in. As the expansion has been denied. Oh, we're droning. Now, it's okay to drone for now, but if Starkiller drones up too much, if he oversaturates his 3rd base, then he is vulnerable, very much so, to an all-in. And it feels like he's forcing the all-in because we've denied the expansion. Starkiller's creating this beast. Probe getting in position. Third base is being taken. We are expanding. Starkiller does confirm. And I believe the Phoenixes have been kept hidden. I believe until now we haven't really gotten clear eyes on them. Here we go, moving out across the map. We have a Dark Shrine behind us. It didn't even register in my mind, but Dark Shrine is done. So Glaives into Phoenixes into DTs. Okay. I see you. Overlords are falling. We pick up the Queen. And Starkiller forced into a big counterattack. Overlords are going down. Back at home, what do we have to defend? We have DTs. Do we have detection? We do. We have an Overseer, thankfully. Starkiller is heavily supply blocked, but he's sending it across the map. He's going for the kill, going for a Hail Mary play. A nice force field. We lock down the army. And we shut down so many roaches. And DT's going ham. Overseer has arrived. And we will clean up the DTs at the same time. Roaches, they bust into the main. But more Dark Templar. They will clean this up. Not before killing 13 probes at the same time. Lings, they hit the third. It's going to be a close hold. It's going to be close. And can we shut down the base? Up. 3 Lings. 2, 1. Oh my god. We barely hold on. The base survives. We clean up the roaches. And a creature has defended, but it cost him 28 probes. And even more going down. Creature down to 23 workers, and we're still rallying across the map. Starkiller, he wants the base. He wants the Nexus, and he's gonna get it. Nexus does fall. And now suddenly Creature is the one who's all in. It's all or nothing for Creature, and back at home we have a Hydra Den. We have Hydras amassing as we speak. Spores are on the way as well, just to be safe and sound against the massive Phoenix. And Starkiller. He's looking solid. Looking good. Looking strong in this position. Creature gonna try and punish Starkiller, but alas, we have our setup here of spores. Defensive setup of spores. We get a Hydra hero there. We get an Overlord, but nothing too major. Roaches, they get across the map. They deny the third base once again. They deny the expansion. Roaches even waddling into the natural. How do they get in? How does he do it? And at this point, Creature, he has to go all in himself. Like, the problem is that how do we macro from here? We're so far behind. We almost have half the worker count, just now taking a third, as Starkiller takes a fourth. And sure, we're building up towards Archon Phoenix, and there's a lot of micro potential, especially with Phoenixes. But we need to get more damage. Creature needs to find more Overlords, drones, queens, any kind of value unit. We get a roach, 2 roaches, that's okay. It's okay. Sphinxes do pull back. We got a handful of units. Charge is done. And Creature moving out with one final hurrah. Comparing the army sizes here, there is potential. We have 25 Hydras. We have mainly a Hydra-based army for Starkiller, and Hydras are quite fragile. They have a lot of DPS, they have a lot of firepower, but depending on the engagements, I mean, Creature could try to take this. As I say that, the Hydras, they do start to step forward, they do push in, and they're going to shut down every single Phoenix. Again, we're still trading nicely, but there's just not enough on the ground. There's just not enough here to support. If we had an extra wave of Zealots, then maybe. Creature does snipe the base. But it looks like he's going to be triggering a counterattack. That's a lot of overseers. Just making sure we have detection. Making sure we have what we need. And Starkiller is snowballing out of control. Just got far too much damage done earlier. And with this final push, like, how do we stop this? How can we? Outside of force fields. And even then, sentries are targeted down. There's one sentry left. Guardian Shield is activated. Archon's doing what they can. I mean, the overcharge is coming into play. And they're trading well. And they're still just too much. We break through the Zealots and the Archon. And it looks like Starkiller has done it. We've broken the main army. We are looking to force that ace match. And GG gets called. Starkiller, he bounces back. And we're going into game 3. GG. Let's go. We're going all the way to the ace match here as Starkiller, he is able to bring it back just barely. And we'll be jumping into game 3. Again, it was a little bit risky to go into Ling Hydra in such a way, but alas, it was just a wild build out of creature. Oh. Wild build out of creature. Remember, creature, he went 3-gate glaives into double Stargate Mass Phoenix. It was a wild build out of creature. The initial adepts did not get enough damage done, but remember, we lost 8 adepts for 5 drones. 5 drone kills. It was just not worth it initially. Likewise, we saw that the Phoenixes were able to shut down a lot of overlords, but there was not enough on the ground to defend against the Roach counterattack, as creature was punished quite hard for his earlier failed glaive adept push. And with that, we're tied up 1-1, and we're going all the way to game number 3. Let's go. Let us go. Game 3 is going to be on Ghost River. Again, we've seen a lot of this map today. A lot of Ghost River. I'm pleasantly surprised. Let's go. Wet spot? Oh, calm down in the chat, Poppy. Calm down. If you're curious as to the MMR of these players, yeah, around like 5.8, like 6K on NA is what you'd expect from these players. Between 5.6 and 6K. Shaking my head. Watch yourself. And here we go. We are going to be settling in and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ghost River. We have our American Protoss player. The red Protoss representing Root Gaming. It is Creature. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the teal Zerg player representing Match Arena Esports. Forcing the ace match, it is Starkiller. Go. So we are going to be settling in. For now, it's going to be a 15-15. Looks like a 15-15 opener here out of Stark. Oh, never mind. Just going for the initial extractor trick. Getting ahead of myself. Now, we already saw Starkiller go for a proxy hatch earlier, but this time it looks like we're going for an earlier gas. Okay, very aggressive build here from Starkiller, going for a gas pool opener. With this, we'll be having a bunch of gas early on, rushing into link speed. This could be leading into a Bane bust as well. Now, the Probe Scout does dip in, and Creature will confirm. He will confirm the early gas, the early pool, and the delayed hatchery. Speaking of Starkiller, okay, going towards the unnatural natural, is forced to expand elsewhere. But my eyes are on this initial gas income, and I'm curious if we pull out at 100 gas or if we stay in and build up towards Banelings. I am curious. As the spawning pool is done, Lings are on the way. And we pull out. Okay, we don't commit into roaches or banelings. We do pull out a gas. It's just going to be for a very fast link speed from the side of Starkiller. And we'll see what we can get done with it. As links are on the way. Just the initial 2. Behind this, a creature is responding. Does wall off with the second gateway. Making sure he is secure. Again, creature did scout, did confirm the delayed hatchery, so again, we're respecting it quite a lot. It's Starkiller we're talking about, a very aggressive player. We don't want to get caught out. Don't want to get caught out as we do cancel the gateway. As now we find out that there's no Ling Rush. Starkiller taking his own expansion. Going for the third. And we're going to be calming things down. I imagine if Starkiller wasn't scouted, then maybe we do Ling Flood. But for now, just taking it slow and steady. Just down the probe. Ling speed is about to kick in. And we're just droning. Just droning on up. Overall, this was an inefficient opener out of Starkiller. Again, as I mentioned before, I think the goal was to maybe catch the Protoss player off guard. And if there was no probe scout, maybe able to make use of these Lings. Alas, that wasn't the case. And we are settling in. This time, creature going for a much more standard opener, going for a Stargate. Not a Twilight Council. He is going for the Stargate opener. Should be embracing Oracles into a third base, into a standard mid-game. We'll keep an eye on Starkiller to see if he ever does cut workers. Be aggressive himself. Go. Not going to be settling in. For now, just droning up. Spores are on the way. Starkiller, he hasn't scouted the tech yet. Oh, no, never mind. He has scouted the tech. He did get eyes on the Stargate with the initial Overlord. So Starkiller is fully aware of what's going on and is preparing back at home. A Spore in each mineral line. Queens as well. So far, so good. We have the tools to defend. It's on a creature to get damage done despite that. Oh, and that's a fast lair. 4-minute lair timing here out of Starkiller. Going for the 4-minute lair, rushing into the Roach Horn as well. Shouldn't be too much of a surprise, but Starkiller is rushing into those roaches. And this could be the beginnings of an all-in. We may cut workers at around 50, maybe 54 at most, and just rally across the map. We'll keep an eye on the drone count of Starkiller. The Oracles, they get 1 drone before backing up. Standard follow-up, Twilight Council Forge as well, with +1 and Blink. Could work towards charge again, also a viable option. As Lair is about to finish, and work towards Roach speed. Gases are being prioritized. The Oracles, they do confirm the tech. We catch 3 more drones. But now Starkiller is resaturating. Okay, droning up quite a decent amount. Okay. We're droning, man. We're droning. Again, I was curious to see like how economical, how greedy Starkiller was going to be. But he is droning up. We have a 4th base on the way. Roaches are amassing for Starkiller, but this may just be a safety amount of roaches. We'll see if we double down. Things are still being active. Still more roaches on the way. Starkiller cutting workers at 53. And this would be a good amount to cut at if we wanted to go for an all-in. Starkiller still don't make any drones. Stay strapped towards the natural. Good reaction. Only 1 drone gets caught. We have a 4th base on the way, but it looks like it's just for larva. Just for larva. More roaches are on the way, and here we go. Starkiller is going for his push. Is moving at a very crisp timing. Roach speed finishing up just in time as he's moving out across the map. The roaches are being sent out. The Lings as well. Not the queens. Queens are being kept at home, so we barely have any to begin with. Only 3 queens. Here we go. One way or another. Can Starkiller break the 3rd? The army is spotted. Go for the warp in. Cannons on the way. Shield battery overcharges pop, but there's barely an army here. We can focus out the Adepts. Adepts are falling one after the other. The Immortal is spotted. And we're going for the Immortal. We're going for the dive. We avoid the overcharge. Oh, the Immortal goes down. Our charge will start diving on top of the army. We're buying time. We pick off a Ravager. We catch a Roach. The army rotating back over towards the third. And it looks like the third base is going to be broken. Another Immortal has arrived, but it's on its own. It is exposed. And we just stutter step forward once again. We focus it down. Massive pickoff, and Creature does not have enough. The third base is going to fall. The question becomes, do we get more than that? Can we break the natural? As the third base is going down, behind this we're droning. Behind this we're droning up. Evo Chamber's on the way. Hydrogen as well. Starkiller is taking up. He's happy to kill the third and get further ahead. Starkiller is droning. He can threaten the natural, but he doesn't have to push in. There's no need. Oh, as we do catch the Oracle. Not bad. Oracle goes down. Starkiller has to be careful not to overextend. We have to be careful not to engage. Starkiller will back up. And back at home, we're drone up to 65. Around 3 base saturation. That's okay. Okay drone counts. Additional gas is being taken. +1 range. Hydra range as well. And yeah, Starkiller is looking quite comfortable here. Meanwhile, Creature is stuck on 2 bases. He's just perpetually stuck on 2 bases. The third is so delayed. We spoke about this in the previous game, how in this position, Creature, I feel like we have to go for an all-in here. Expanding and taking it slow, I feel like that benefits Starkiller more than anything. Starkiller's already up at 50 supply. Prism's on the way, so we can reinforce. Going for the initial Immortal drop. Can get value, and yeah, Creature is going to try and re-expand. But here comes Starkiller. The Hydras, no! Oh my god. Hydras, they almost caught the Prism. Thankfully, Hydra speed is not done. Prism's racing back. Starkiller has arrived. And we're collapsing on the main army. There are three Immortals. But we have plenty to work with. Nice juggling with the Immortals, though. And Starkiller's getting caught out. Not a bad initial trade for Creature. Does trade well. Do I see in the chat? Who the hell is Duckles? True. Good to see you again, Bappy. Good to see you again. Este Duddles. Aye, aye, aye. Papa Duddles, if you will. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Yo, the blast from the past. We've got all the Alpha exploits. I mean, Duddles not quite, but we have Rushy. We have Duddles from that era, I should say. Casting Starkiller of all players. What year? What year is it? 2020? Oh my god. Good to see you. Good to see you. As Starkiller does pull back, we're embracing Hive Tech. Hive is on the way. Lunker Den as well. I mean, again, there's no rush. There's no rush for Starkiller to break the third. He's already ahead. May as well get further ahead as we back off. Take a 4, take a 5th, drone up, and max out. Max out on Lurker Tech. Meanwhile, Creature is building up his own army. He's got a decent Immortal count, and we were in this scenario in Game 1, if you recall. The one thing that I would hope for Starkiller is Viper production. Vipers are not necessarily to blind and cloud the army. That could help, but to yoink and abduct and pick off these Immortals one at a time. Otherwise, Creature can stabilize. So we'll see how we make use of the Hive. As the Lurker count is getting higher. Expanding, taking our 4th. Taking our 5th even. We'll see if Creature can make a comeback of reality. How many Archons do we have? 7. 7 Archons. 4th base is on the way. With the hive completing, we are prioritizing those upgrades with lurker range and, of course, adaptive talents as well. Should be on the horizon. But I mentioned before that the one thing that I'm concerned by is whether or not we invest into Vipers. We saw what happens if we don't have them in Game 1, where Creature was able to outposition these lurkers and pick them apart bit by bit. Once again, Starkiller is spread out. He's got a group of lurkers towards the north, towards the center. But it looks like we're pulling everything together. And Starkiller going for one big push. He is spotted. Zealot confirm. Creature's keeping up. How many lurkers is this? It's going to be 17 lurkers for Starkiller. Not able to push up the ramp. Yeah, we are in position. Force fields are thrown down. Starkiller making his way in. Does burrow. And Creature not quite in position. Lurkers, they do collapse forward. Yeah, Archons are falling. And we're just wedging ourselves in between the natural and the third. And can we deal with this? Can we break this? Nice revelation. Archons from behind. Immortals from the front. But it looks like Starkiller is able to hold his own. Yeah, shuts down the Prism, shuts down the Zealots, gets himself the Immortals, and Starkiller, he has just far too much. Breaks the main army, GG gets called, and Starkiller will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the semi-finals. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Starkiller able to embrace that earlier push, if you remember, with the fast lair. He cut workers at 53 and went for a massive 3 base, or just under 3 base all in. And with that, Starkiller did take the win. And Creature, that will spell his end here. Oh. Will spell his end, at least initially, in Cheeseadelphia. And now we are entering the semifinals. Oh, and I need a moment.